What's up, my friends, and welcome to the PHLY Phillies podcast. A happy Monday to you. I hope you had an excellent weekend, and welcome back to another week of PHLY Philly shows. Of course, as always, the PHLY Phillies podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You can use that promo code up above my shoulder, PHLY365. Deposit just $10 and place a bet for $5, and you'll get $150 back in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. More on our friends at Bet365 throughout the show. And again, hello to you all. Tyler Zulli here, Andrew Frazier with us as well. And I have to start the show out today because I'm like fiddling with papers, I have to say. Sometimes, in my expanded dad role, I was trying to do too much today. And sometimes you end up on a Monday morning, forgetting something that is important for work. And sometimes you end up forgetting literally the most important thing that you use for your job. So I dropped my son off at daycare today, and I was getting all his stuff ready, his food, his diaper bag, all of his clothes and all that kind of stuff. And I drop him off, and, everything's going great. And I go to work afterwards, and I'm on 95, and I'm driving, and I pull into the parking lot. And I reach down because I put my bag in my passenger seat, like where their feet go. I put my bag there, and I reach down, and I go, oh, no. I forgot my whole bag. I didn't forget a charger. I didn't forget this or that. I literally left my entire work bag at home.
That's rough.
The whole thing.
That is
my
rough.
laptop's in there, my computer charger, my phone charger. It's all in there. So now you see me I'm like Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do. So I'm sitting here. I'm like playing with paper. I got my phone here. There's no notes on there. So we are going to go vibes today, baby. We're going vibes today. But anyway, welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I wanted to send out a quick shout out today to everybody who was a part of last week's programming. Whether it was the emergency pods or the trade deadline special or the regular weekly shows, you guys made that the best PHLY Phillies week of the season in terms of viewership, in terms of our goals, in terms of just sheer enjoyment of being a part of this show. You guys made you made last week the best numerical week at PHLY in terms of this season for the PHLY Phillies. You guys are the absolute best. I can't thank you enough. Huge shout out goes to Andrew Frazier as well.
All you, man.
And everybody behind the scenes, Chris Frezza, Ethan Hartley, all of our staff. Really, really appreciate everything that everybody did for the trade deadline last week. All right, let's get into our conversation at hand today because we have a lot to talk about. Today we're going to talk about Cristopher Sanchez, Jhoan Duran, Kyle Schwarber, and the Cy Young candidacy in an hour. We're going to do a lot to do so. We have a lot to unpack in the next hour, so let's jump right into things. Last night, Cristopher Sanchez was dominant. From start to finish, his first 3 pitches were filthy. His 85th pitch was great. And everything in between, with the exception of one bases-loaded jam that he pretty easily got out of, thanks to a little bit of help, right? Edmundo Sosa with a huge defensive play. Bryson Stott an inning later with an elite defensive level play. JT on the throw from Edmundo having to come up the line a little bit with the runner, who, by the way, did the perfect thing as a runner, which was basically square his back up to Edmundo Sosa. I give Jahmai Jones a lot of credit for doing that. That was smart base running. But from start to finish last night, Cristopher Sanchez was on one. The changeup was nasty. The fastball had life. Location was elite. And I don't know if you guys had the chance to watch the StatCast kind of nerdy broadcast that was the secondary stream. So I will say this. I think ESPN Sunday Night Baseball has a really good crew. I love Boog Sciambi a lot. I think Eduardo Perez and David Cone balance each other really, really well. Get a pitcher's take, get a player's take. I think they do an awesome job. But I found myself last night watching that nerd StatCast broadcast because that's the type of stuff that I love to watch. And I think they did a really, really good job. I think Trevor May is a star in the making in baseball content creation landscape. He did, to hear from a modern day pitcher who has both the feel of like pitched in the feel era and pitched in the StatCast era, Like, I think he does an awesome job. But the way that they were raving last night about Cristopher Sanchez, his location, his control, his velocity uptick, his changeup. I mean, they did not, they couldn't say enough good things about Cristopher Sanchez last night. And they're right. And it's the things that we've been saying on this show all year long. It's the things that we've been saying on this show really for the last 2 years, when Cristopher Sanchez really kind of burst onto the scene last year in a big way, was an all-star. Should have been an all-star this year, right? The caveat of, like, he pitched on over the weekend and he wasn't going to pitch in the game. He's our all-star, and I think he knows it, and the Phillies know it, and the league knows it. Jeff Passan talked about it. Like, he should have been an all-star. There's no question about it. But the emergence of Cristopher Sanchez over the last 2 seasons, I mean, the legend just like the lore continues to grow and grow and grow and grow, to the point where this dude is a legitimate Cy Young candidate, and probably has been pretty much all season long. But last night was another example, another chapter in the Cristopher Sanchez season that continues to get better and better and better. I posted a video, I don't know, it was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, where I was raving about Ranger Suarez. And I said, if the postseason started today, I would consider giving Ranger Suarez Game 2 start. I was wrong. I mean, Ranger's been great, don't get me wrong. He's had a little bit of faltering here and there. Cristopher Sanchez, since I posted that video, has one bad start, and that bad start was 4 earned runs over 6 innings, where he kept the Phillies in the game enough. It was a clunker compared to what he's posted, because over the last 2 months, it's been 1 earned run or less in 10 of 11 starts. The way that Cristopher Sanchez is dialed in is on a different planet right now. We've talked about Cristopher Sanchez over the month of June. He's been an elite level pitcher in his career in the month of June, but it carried over into July, and now it's carried over into his first start in the month of August. 8 innings pitched last night. 2 weeks ago, Cristopher Sanchez goes back out for the 9th, and nobody bats an eye because they didn't have Jhoan Duran, who we'll talk about more in a little bit. But he was only at 84 pitches when he exited the game. He gave up 5 hits. He walked just 1. And he struck out 6. And other than, again, that bases loaded jam that they got out of, and a first and second nobody out where he proceeded to get a strikeout and a double play, Cristopher Sanchez is unhittable right now. Let's take a look at Cristopher Sanchez's season numbers so far this season. 22 starts now. He has a 2.4 ERA. There are 5 pitchers, qualified pitchers, with a 2.4 ERA or better this season. He ranks 5th. The only guys that are ahead of him are Chicago Cubs' Matthew Boyd, Boston Red Sox' Garrett Crochet, Detroit Tigers' Tarek Skubal, and Pittsburgh Pirates' Paul Skeens. You're talking about Skeens, Skubal, Crochet, Boyd, who's been incredible, by the way. I have to give the guy a lot of credit. He's had an awesome season. And Cristopher Sanchez. Just under 139 innings pitched this year. He's now well over above a strikeout per inning pitched at 145. The walks have been really manageable, just 34. And you see, because of that, his whip is just above 1 at 1.075. He also is now posting a career best 9.4 strikeouts per 9 inning pitched. And you take a look at the Baseball Savant page on the right there, that's a heck of a lot of red. You talk about expected numbers, right exactly with his actual numbers. He's telling you he's been just as good as advertised. He's generating a ton of chase, primarily because of the changeup. He's generating a ton of whiff, again, primarily because of the changeup. His strikeout rates are really good. His walk rates are really good. He doesn't get barreled all that frequently. And the one at the second one from the top, the ground ball rate is consistently in that 95, 96, 97 percentile. And you're now looking at a guy whose ground ball rate is almost 59% as a starter. This isn't a reliever. Like Caleb Ferguson had a really good one. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. Has a really good ground ball rate. He's a reliever. This is a starter who's been at this dominant. Like, we've said this in past shows. Like, Andrew and I have been like the conductors of the Cristopher Sanchez fan club train for quite some time now. He is exceeding my expectations. Not only is Cristopher Sanchez an all-star worthy pitcher, not only is Cristopher Sanchez a really, really, really good pitcher, he's an elite level pitcher at this point. Cristopher Sanchez is legitimately one of the 10 best starting pitchers in baseball. And I'm not sure, I could argue it's maybe closer to 7 or 8. He's been that good. The numbers that he has produced are off the charts good. Now, what makes Cristopher Sanchez so good? We've talked about this a lot recently. But what makes Cristopher Sanchez so good? Arm slot. Arm angle, arm action, arm slot. He's identical with the release of his fastball and his changeup. Again, we go back to the broadcast last night, and they were correctly pointing out, in a league where you see, especially starting pitchers, have repertoires of 4, 5, 6 pitches, right? I think about Zach Wheeler adding a splitter at his age, 32, I think he was when he added the splitter. Paul Skeens, who throws, at 108 pitches, different type of pitches, right? They were pointing out that Cristopher Sanchez is a 3-pitch pitcher. 84% of Cristopher Sanchez's pitches are either fastball or changeup. And the why behind his success is his arm slot. His release point is exactly the same. He's tall. He bounds down the mound. You saw his extension rate, right? It's up into the high percentiles. And effectively what happens is when he gets down the mound with that downward movement, there you go. You see it. What does that say? My eyes are blind. Does it say 91st percentile for extension? 91st percentile. He's probably 6. What do you say he is? 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark.
And he gets bounding down the mound, right? He's long. His release point is basically the exact same. And he's cutting off, feet, right? He's cutting off feet from his release point from the mound. So 60 feet, 6 inches now becomes 56 feet, right? And you, in a split-second decision-making process in baseball, you're cutting out valuable milliseconds in trying to determine, right, see pitch, brain waves have to function, right? Your synapses have to fire to determine if it's a strike or not, determine if you're going to swing, and then get your body in motion to swing.
He's 6'6".
He's 6'6"?
We just said 6'3". No.
I said 6'3", 6'4". I sold the guy short.
No, he's 6'6".
He's 6'6". So you talk about a guy getting bounding down the mound, right? Like, his release point, he feels like he's on top of you when he lets the ball go. And so with all of these things in play, the changeup becomes so devastating, not just because of the downward break, not just because of the arm side horizontal break. It's because of the fact that when the ball leaves his hand, you are not determined until it's basically on top of you if A, this is a sinker or a changeup, and B, is it a strike or not? Now, let's take a look at Cristopher Sanchez's changeup numbers specifically. This is his changeup for the season. He's thrown just over 750 changeups so far this year. Opponents are hitting 137. But on top of that, their slug, not their batting average, not their on-base percentage, their slug against the changeup this year is 186. He is generating whiff rates at almost 47%. And that last one right there, he has a 17 run value this year on the changeup. There's one changeup and 2 pitches in all of baseball which have better run values in 2025 than Cristopher Sanchez's 17 run value on the changeup. It's Tarek Skubal's changeup. That's the only changeup that's better. And it's Joe Ryan's fastball. That is it. Skubal's at a 19. Joe Ryan is at an absurd 24. The run value is off the charts for Cristopher Sanchez's changeup. And then one more thing, Andrew, if you don't mind pulling that up for just another second. On the right, I put that there on purpose. That is the heat map of Cristopher Sanchez's changeup this year. So we're looking at it from the catcher's view out. So basically what you're looking at is down and away trending to righties. Because he throws it to both sides, but he faces so many righties throughout his games that you could put 2 and 2 together and say down and away most of the time to right-handed hitters. That location is gross. I mean, that's intentional. It's with purpose, and it's just pinpoint. Like if you've ever heard somebody say pull the string on a changeup, that's what they mean. That's what they mean by that changeup. It is pull the string good. Cristopher Sanchez is elite. He is so good, and he continues to get better. And one final thing before we welcome Andrew into the show. That contract. We talk about that contract a lot. It is going to end up being one of the elite contracts in baseball. I'm not talking about 2 or 3 years from now. I'm talking about right now. It's an insanely team valuable contract. But even as he continues to progress and the money starts to increase a little bit over time, you're talking about a guy who's going to make kind of pennies on the dollar compared to what certain starting pitchers are getting. And every year the market resets, right? Wheeler got the big AAV contract. He is the highest paid starting pitcher by AAV across Major League Baseball. And they did that intentionally because he knew that he wasn't going to pitch, another 5 or 6 years. So he signs the 3-year extension. But you're thinking about, like, what did guys like Aaron Nola get? What did Blake Snell get? What did Yoshinobu Yamamoto get when he signed with the Dodgers? At some point, like, national recognition of this contract is going to set in. Because if I were Cristopher Sanchez, and Ray Schumacher points it out, I'd be like, dude, more money. I know I signed the deal. I know I have to, like, there's a principle to it, but, like, more money. If I were his agent, I'd be going in tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day and being like, hey, get my guy more money. You see what he's doing? He's been insane. That contract's a steal. So on top of everything that Cristopher Sanchez is doing this year and what he did again last night, I mean, he making right-handed hitters look silly. Like, there was an at-bat, like the first at-bat of the game. I don't remember who led off. I can't remember who it was that led off. But he went fastball, knee-high inside, boom, called strike 1. He went fastball at the belt, strike 2. Changeup, down and away, pulled the string, see you later. I mean, it wasn't even close. What did Jose Alvarado used to say? Strike 1, strike 2, good luck or something like that. That's what it felt like.
Is it Matt Vierling? I think he led off.
I don't remember who it was. Vierling had some bad at-bats last night. I mean, a lot of the Tigers had bad at-bats last night. But anyway, just an unbelievable performance in a string of ridiculously good performances. As we welcome in our second member of today's show, that's our producer and co-host, Andrew Frazier.
How are we?
Just another one. Like, I remember, like, in May and in June, we had a string of doing shows after Ranger Suarez starts, and we were just working through how good Ranger Suarez has been.
Yeah.
We're doing that now with Cristopher Sanchez. I feel like we're on the air every time Cristopher Sanchez pitches.
Very true.
Unbelievable how good he's been and how good he was last night.
Yeah. No, he's been incredible. I mean, he could have easily just pitched the entire game yesterday. Obviously, we all wanted to see Jhoan come in and close it. I mean, who doesn't want to see that?
Oh, I mean, we'll get to him in a bit, but, like, just electric.
But I mean, Sanchez had that under his belt. He had that thing taken care of. And he has just been absolutely dominant. He says you can't hit him. They had Bryce Harper on. They were talking to Bryce Harper during the game, and he just said, I want nothing to do with any of that. Nothing to do with anything that Cristopher Sanchez has.
That's one of the elite hitters of the game who hits lefties fairly well.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to go near him.
Wouldn't want to face him.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've talked about this plenty with Sanchez. The thing with him that is so daunting as a hitter is that teams are going to run out their right-handed heavy lineups against him. They've done it all year. The Tigers did it last night. I think they had one lefty in the lineup. Every team that they have faced, unless you have a guy who's like an elite level lefty, if you have a baseline lefty, you're going to start the righty against Cristopher Sanchez. I get it. It makes sense. Start the righty against the lefty. But it doesn't matter when you have that neutralizer in that changeup that he does. And then he starts to locate the fastball. And then he's able to use the sinker a little bit up in the zone because of the velocity. And then you're looking up and then boom, he hits you with that pull the string changeup. You got no chance.
Yeah. You know what?
I wouldn't want to face him.
Bring whatever lineup you want. As Anthony would like to say, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why, like, you and I talked on Friday about our concerns with the lineup, and they're going to be there for most of the season, right? Whether it's left field, center field, second base, stringing hits together. Like, they scored 2 runs last night, and one of them came in the 8th on a Kyle Schwarber home run. Charlie Morton pitched well yesterday and kept them in check for a majority of the game. So, like, the offensive concerns are still going to be there. But the thing with this team, and why I think why Vegas believes they have good odds to get to the World Series, why a lot of people, why we've been bullish on the starting rotation, is if you get into a 5-game series, you are going to have to go through Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez. And that's going to give you a fighter's chance against everybody.
Definitely. 100%.
And so that's why I've said to you before, Andrew, like, if you told me the Phillies were going to get eliminated in a wild card round and they lose 2 games, 2-1, okay, yeah, I mean, like, I think that the offense could go cold and we could see it. If you told me the Phillies were going to pitch their way to a World Series appearance, I can also see that.
And I think that's looking more like the
and like the discrepancy between the two is like, 1, people are losing their jobs, and 2, you're talking about this is what expectations were for the last couple of seasons. It's a massive difference.
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, there's a very realistic chance that we see the Phillies playing in late October and into November. And I do foresee a way where you could convince me to say the offense was cold and Wheeler and Sanchez were elite, but it wasn't enough. That's a weird place to be, but, like, much like the trade deadline, I think there's a lot of difference between the floor and the ceiling of this team.
Yeah, and something that you said, on Friday, because we kind of were talking about the whole thing, hot and cold teams. It can happen to any team.
Sure.
And
there's I don't think there's a complete team in baseball right now.
No.
Because we've talked about it. Dodgers have injuries.
Not at all.
Cubs don't have a lot of starting pitching depth. Mets, bottom half of the lineup is still a question mark. They went out and got Mullins, who doesn't do much for me, much like Bader doesn't do much for me. Like, the Mets bullpen is really, really good. I will say this. I think of the playoff caliber teams in the National League right this moment, based on how the teams are structured, do you know who I would like to see the least in the postseason?
I think I might.
The San Diego Padres.
Oh, okay.
Because their bullpen is disgusting, and I think their lineup does a lot of the little things well. Now, you could convince me that the Padres are a nothing burger in the postseason, and I could get behind it, but, like, that's a team that if they got rolling, I could see making a move.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And they go get Mason Miller, him and Suarez at the back end of that bullpen. Whew, it's a great bullpen, man.
But if it doesn't move for them, ooh, man, did they give up a lot for nothing.
Sure. And I know they've got them for team control for forever.
Yeah, of course.
But, like, you're thinking about giving up we talked about them giving up the farm. But I think right now, if I were to rank the teams that would concern me in terms of the postseason, I think I would go Padres. I still think the Cubs offense is really, really good. I think even though their pitching may be questionable, but, like, I think if you inversed it and you said, where do the Phillies rank? You would go, that pitching staff concerns me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, heading into a postseason, do I really want to face Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez? Probably not.
Yeah, of course.
Even though I know if we score 4, we might win the game. But, I think that heading into the postseason, the Phillies could be a cause for concern for other teams.
Any other baseball show that's going on radio or the internet right now is talking about the Phillies rotation.
Sure.
And they're saying
as they should.
That is probably the scariest thing in all of baseball right now.
Right. So, like, what are the skill sets of each and every team in the National League? The skill set to me of the Phillies is their elite skill set, starting pitching, right? Cubs, mashing offense. Their offense is really good. Mets, I think their bullpen's really, really good. Who else am I? The Dodgers. I think when they get healthy, they're the Dodgers. I think that is probably the easiest conversation to have, is like, once the Dodgers get healthy, they're the Dodgers.
Yeah, of course.
But I think every team also has their question marks. And I think it's going to be a pretty wide open National League, knowing kind of like we talked about it on Friday, there's 7 teams for 6 spots. I think it's a wide open National League within those 6 teams. Milwaukee just continues to play good ball. Like, they're probably the most under talked about good baseball team in the league.
They're scary, man.
So anyway, let's pause for a moment. I think we have a lot to still get into. But Cristopher Sanchez, my goodness, just elite, elite, elite. And we'll do them more on the other side. We're going to get into our Ace Hardware temp check. We have our big deal segment as well. And we'll wrap up today. I want to ask you a question about the Cy Young candidacy, and not specifically with Phillies pitchers, but two guys that I think are the front runners right now. I want to talk just, barroom conversation, have a conversation about two guys in particular. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast. It's brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be right back after this. All right, let's talk more about Bet365, shall we? 90 million users worldwide, right? They can't be wrong. Something has to tell you that 90 million users is enough of a sample size to tell you that Bet365 is the place to be. They live stream 780,000 events each and every year across 78 different sports. So you can live bet throughout all of the day and into the night. Listen, of course you can bet baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, but what about like Australian rules football, or how about rugby? What if you're just hanging out? It's 2:00 in the morning. You want to get a little action in on a game. Think about the events that are going on, halfway across the world, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, in Africa. You can continue to bet just about any sporting event, and that's why live in-game betting was pioneered by our friends over at Bet365. And how about this? New users right now, deposit just $10, place your bet for $5, and you get $150 back in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. You can use that bonus money on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and so much more. You'll find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, that moment, that day that you're having a great day, you're at the theme park with your family, you're getting on all the great rides, short lines, good bite to eat. Then all of a sudden you get on the roller coaster and you forget that your shades are on your head, and boom, they're gone. Hit that first drop, gone. You're not getting them back. But if you had Shady Rays, you wouldn't have to worry about it, because Shady Rays offers an incredible protection plan. All pairs are backed by a lost or broken replacement guarantee, and they're incredible. They look awesome on you. You're going to get them in incredible colors and different styles. Polarized crystal clear optics, right? For somebody like me who has really sensitive eyes when it comes to the summer and the sun in general, the crystal clear polarized optics keep everything bright and vibrant while protecting my eyes. Because, listen, I'm in the studio right now. You can't see our lights, but I feel like I get blinded every time I do the show. I got to start wearing my Shady Rays on the set. And, of course, they are the eyewear company that has your back. And how about this? We've teamed up with our friends over at Shady Rays to get you the best deal in all of eyewear. Use that promo code on the bottom of your screen, PHLY, to get 35% off a pair of polarized sunglasses. Find out for yourself why these are the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, myself included. They're incredible. Get on over to shadyrays.com to get your pair of polarized lenses today. All right, welcome back to the PHLY Phillies podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Want to say hello to everybody in our chat: K-Red, Chris Slem, Peeling Onions, Ray Schumacher. Andrew, if you could scroll up for me. I obviously don't have my phone with me, or my laptop with me today to properly say hello to everybody. We got RM Carp. They did it again. I hate this at thing. Give me everybody's name, please. We got Futz. Everybody in the chat. If I didn't say you, thank you for being a part of the show. I really appreciate you. You guys are the absolute best. Filthy McNasty. Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. All right, let's get into our Ace Hardware temp check segment. And of course, our Ace Hardware temp check segment is brought to you by our friends over at Ace Hardware Home Services. Whether it's something small like an outlet you need fixed, or something massive like your AC or your heater went and you need to get those fixed in a timely fashion, head on over to acehardwarehomeservices.com to check in on all of their services and what they offer, and they'll do it with the helpful hardware folks. Our Ace Hardware temp check, of course, is we check in on a player who's heating up or who's cooling down. And Andrew, I know it's kind of corny, but we got to tell you who's heating up. It's not just because of him pitching well. It's because of everything that goes along with it.
Oh, yeah.
Jhoan Duran, the entrance, the velocity, this dude just he comes into the game, he stares you down.
The Durantula.
You got no chance against this guy. 103? 103? 103.3. Are you kidding me? What are you supposed to do with that?
that even possible? Like, is that like
Physically, I don't know.
How do people even throw that fast?
103.3 on the gun last night. He has thrown just one pitch under 98 miles an hour since joining the Phillies. Now, it's only been 2 appearances, and he only threw 4 pitches the first time through. But the velocity, I mean, we'll talk. We can nerd out about the splitter in just a second, but the sheer heat that this dude brings. Like, sometimes when you see a closer's entrance, it's like, have they earned that? Dude, Duran's earned that entrance.
So VG gave us a little bit of a nug today on Anthony's show about that entrance. Apparently, the guys who developed the entrance took, I think he said, 300 hours to create that entrance. So when he got traded, they were just like, look, we worked so hard on this. We want to give you this as a gift. Like, we don't want to see our work go away. Here's his intro.
So we were talking about it right before. You were still doing Anthony's show. Brenna, who produces the Flyers, myself, Julia, our Eagles producer, Ethan Hartley, our intern, we were talking about it. And they had like 36 hours to turn that around.
Yeah.
And apparently when they triggered the the big event, it froze the first time.
Oh no.
I didn't know that because obviously we're watching at home, you can't see it.
Yeah.
But apparently it froze and then it kicked back into gear. But as like we work in production, like when something freezes on our end, there's that heart drop moment. We're talking about running graphics, right? Like a slideshow type presentation. You imagine trying to run the presentation of a 40,000 plus Major League Baseball stadium and it doesn't fire right away?
Man, I would turn into a ghost.
I'd cry.
Yeah.
I think I would legitimately cry if it didn't work.
Yeah, I would too.
But I mean, so like we could talk about the heat of this is truly temp check, cranking the heat type segment.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The heat that is like, it's palpable at the stadium. And you think about it, so T-Mac I think T-Mac did an awesome job the first time he came out because he basically said, we're not going anywhere. Stay tuned. Watch this. And then he shut up because that's exactly what a broadcaster should do in that moment.
Yeah.
Is let the moment live. I think one of the great calls of all time is one that has very few words. Vin Scully called Hank Aaron's 715th career home run. Vin Scully called the moment. It happened, right? And then he let the crowd do the work. A monumental moment in baseball. Hank Aaron became the all-time home run leader. And Vin Scully said, this is not about me. This moment is not about me. This moment's about Hank Aaron and the crowd that's here. I think Tom McCarthy did an awesome job on that. It's different scale, of course, right? Talking about an entrance versus one of the single biggest swings in the history of baseball. But T-Mac did a great job with that. And I think ESPN did an awesome job with it last night too, where they kind of just let the moment breathe because it's such a big moment.
Yeah, of course.
Now think about it. That was August 3rd, a Sunday night against an interleague opponent.
Crazy.
What is that place going to sound like and look like and feel like in October?
Oh man, can you imagine? It's
when
like
when it's top of the ninth, Phils hold a 3-2 lead, coming up to hit Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Starling Marte, right? Something like that. What's it going to look like when it's Duran versus the heart of the Mets lineup?
So I live in South Philly, not too far away from the stadiums. I will hear, my house will literally shake. That's how crazy that is going to be.
I look forward to, Phillies fans are so cerebral. Philly sports fans in general are really cerebral. I think Phillies fans are very, very bright. I think there's a lot of overreaction in 162 games because we view it in a much smaller sample size. But I think in total, Phillies fans, you don't get a lot past Phillies fans, whether it be talking about a new player, whether it be talking about contract extension, or whether it be knowing how to get under the other team's skin, right? Knowing how to stoke the flames of the opposition. Phillies fans are very, very smart. The 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 level at which Phillies fans brought it yesterday for a Sunday afternoon game or Sunday evening game was unreal. And I think going back to Sanchez for a moment and then seeing Duran, having the ability to allow the national audience on ESPN to watch Cristopher Sanchez carve up the Tigers for 8 innings, and then this dude comes out of the pen just like blazing.
Yeah.
That's the Phillies formula to win.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to win postseason games.
Oh, 100%. He was quoted, it was either Friday night after the game or last night after the game, and he was talking about his experience coming to the bank. And he said, being that his experience prior was that he was on the opposite side of it, and he could feel the energy from the opposite side. And then he said, now that he's on this side of it, being with the Phillies and having them supporting him and all that stuff, he said, there's nothing like it.
It is going to be insane when October hits. Now, let's talk about the actual stuff of Jhoan Duran. Obviously, the big velocity is the selling point. 103 is nuts. I think he broke the record, the Citizens Bank Park velocity record twice last night. So I believe the record was held by Jose Alvarado at like 102 point something. So he breaks the record and then does it again and breaks his own record with 103.3. First of all, I mean, that's just, again, you can't hit that. It becomes like, I've always said, fastballs with little life, eventually timing kicks in. Now, you might get beat the first time through and might get beat the second time through. Fastball up in the zone, elevated type of stuff, right? It's bound to happen. 99, 100. At some point, 103, I don't care if it's the flattest fastball in the world. Like, you're not catching up to 103. You're just not going to do it. Now, the bigger part about the velocity was he threw darts. It wasn't just this guy's throwing hard and has no idea where the ball is going to go. His command was excellent last night. When he wanted to go in on the hands, he went in on the hands. When he wanted to go down and in at the knees, he went down and in at the knees. His command was pinpoint at times. And so when you factor in the velocity plus the ability to throw strikes the way that he was doing, this guy becomes unhittable. And then you have that fall off the table, drop off the cliff type of splitter, which
Gross.
On top of the fact that it dives off the table, that's coming in at 97, 98.
Yeah, that thing's gross, man.
Listen, we've said this plenty of times. I probably feel like a broken record. It's one of the 5 best pitches in baseball, like individual single pitches. The pitch is disgusting. Like, you talk about fall off the table, unhittable type of stuff. Like, he threw one in the first appearance that was up in the zone, and it moved just enough, I think, to miss the bat plane. But when he starts that pitch at the knees and it dies off the table, how are you supposed to lay off of it? Especially knowing the velocity's there. And even if you do successfully either foul it off or lay off of it, you've just changed eye level from here to here. You know what I would do after that? Bam, right back up here, 103. How? What do you do? What are you supposed to do? And not only is this dude going to pitch in high leverage situations and in shutdown situations in the postseason, Andrew, he's going to do it next year and the year after that. At a minimum, the next 2 seasons. This dude's a Philly for 2.5 years. This guy's sick. And we're just scratching the surface of what this guy's going to do for the Phillies in down the stretch. And that's our Ace Hardware Temp Check segment, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Brought to you by our friends. Bet365 is our presenting sponsor. You see them up there. Our Ace Hardware Temp Check segment, which is brought to you by our friends over at Ace Hardware Home Services. Check out acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project, whether it's heating, cooling, HVAC, electrical. They've got the trusted pros that are going to keep your home humming all year long. All right, on the other side, we have our Big Deal segment, and our Big Deal segment surrounds one other Philly who is starting to get closer and closer and closer to free agency. We'll talk about that on the other side, and then we're going to wrap up with a conversation surrounding the Cy Young candidacy and the conversation as we get into the dog days of summer. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be right back after this. All right, they were just our sponsor of our last segment, but let's talk about our friends at Ace Hardware and Ace Hardware Home Services. If you've got a outlet that you've been saying that you want to get fixed, but you just haven't quite had the time, Ace Hardware Home Services has the person to help you fix that, because they bring in the helpful hardware folks, and now they're the helpful hardware home service team as well. But it might be something more significant than just an outlet. It might be your heating, your HVAC, your cooling, whatever it might be. They have the trusted pros that keep your home humming all year long. And like I said last week, don't get lulled into a false sense of security, because it's like 80s coming up this week. A little bit more of a reprieve after the hot wave that we had over the last couple of weeks. Don't be fooled into thinking that summer's over. You're still going to get some 90s and high 90s in the end of August and even into September. And you want to make sure that your AC is humming as best as it possibly can all summer long, and that's where Ace Hardware Home Services come in. What does Ace Hardware bring to the job that they're going to do for you? Of course, they bring the helpful hardware folks, but they also bring experience. They bring understanding. They're going to work with you within your budget and the scope of the job that you're looking to get done. They bring that helpful hardware home, and they offer free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home. It's service you can trust and satisfaction that is guaranteed. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project today.
Oh, Tyler, I walked into my garage yesterday and it felt like a sauna.
Dude, I got to tell you, even for somebody who loves summer, it's getting a little ridiculous out there.
Dude, I know. So, like, I got like 10 bags of ice and I was going to make an ice bath because, you know, like the healing properties and all that stuff, and just to beat the heat. But when I went to go make the ice bath outside, all the bags of ice melted.
Andrew, why didn't you just like turn on your AC?
Because I'm trying to be energy efficient, Tyler.
All right, listen, instead of trying to go through your new skincare routine, all you have to do is check out Pico's energy saving rebates. They've got all of the deals on Energy Star cooling equipment that actually work and cut your bill.
Wait. So no more ice?
No, unless you're trying to do a polar plunge, you're good.
Now that's what's up.
Just head on over to pico.com/ways to save. They've got tips for everything: heating, cooling, lighting, you name it. PHLY Phillies podcast brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Tyler Zulli, Andrew Frazier, we're with you for another 20 minutes or so as we wrap up this Monday afternoon's episode here on PHLY. Phils take 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers. Baltimore Orioles coming to town next, and then the Phillies will wrap up. It feels like they have not played a National League team in almost a month. They've played... Who have they played since the All-Star break? The Angels, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Tigers,
and then the Orioles,
the White Sox, and now the Orioles, and then the Texas Rangers to wrap up.
Yep,
7 consecutive American League opponents since the All-Star break, and so like people were saying, oh well, the Phillies have played the fewest interleague games in all of baseball, and now they just went out and played like a month's worth of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our big deal segment, which is brought to you by our friends over at Cherry Hill Jeep. Head on over to cherryhilljeep.com to shop 24/7 or across any of the bridges. It's just a couple minutes away from really any of the bridges in Philly and the surrounding suburbs. You can get in on the latest Jeeps at cherryhilljeep.com. More on them in just a minute. It's our big deal segment, and we check in on whether it be contractual or something that's happened over the last couple of days that's a big storyline. Let's talk about the impending free agency and the season that Kyle Schwarber is having. Last night, a solo shot to give the Phillies a little bit of an insurance run in the 8th inning. Instead of it being 1-0 heading into the 9th, it was 2-0 heading into the 9th. It was the 38th home run of the season from Kyle Schwarber, matching his season total from a year ago. And I mean, I think it's safe to say that this is Kyle Schwarber's best season as a professional. Through 111 games this year so far, He has 410 at bats. He's hitting 254. His on base percentage is almost 380. And obviously, that is in part due to the fact that Schwarber walks a ton, but his slug almost 580, and his OPS is just under 960. And there you see it, 38 home runs this season, 88 RBI, and with the 38 home runs and his doubles and his triple, 56 extra base hits. And I know it's a little bit small because I had to try to fit the whole thing in. Kyle Schwarber is top 5 in the National League in, ready for this, runs, home runs, RBI, walks, on base percentage, slugging, and OPS. I think it is very fair to say that not only is Kyle Schwarber having the best season of his career, Kyle Schwarber probably should belong in the MVP conversation at this point.
Hands down, I agree. There should be no contest here. This man is killing it.
And I will say this. Shohei Ohtani is going to win the MVP.
Of course.
I don't think there's any question that he is going to win the MVP. But when it comes to second and third place votes, I think the conversation really belongs to two guys. I think it belongs to Kyle Schwarber, and I think it belongs to Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs. And I've said this before. I'm a big proponent of the MVP going to not only the guy having an elite level season, but the guy that elevates his team the most. Now, I think when you pair those two together, Shohei Ohtani is having an elite level season, and with the slew of injuries that the Dodgers have had, plus the fact that Mookie Betts has been kind of off this year, and Freddie Freeman had a little bit of a slump as well, which is like, I don't know if I've ever seen Freddie Freeman slump before. Shohei Ohtani's offense has been a huge catalyst for the Dodgers. Now, don't get me wrong, they still have a lot of really good players, but Shohei Ohtani has been elite again this year offensively. I think Pete Crow Armstrong has a case to be the Cubs' most valuable player throughout the season. They've gotten a lot of contributions from guys like Carson Kelly, really good year from Seiya Suzuki, really good year from Michael Busch. Who am I missing at the top of their lineup? Who else am I missing at the top of their lineup? Who's been really good for them? There's somebody else that I'm missing. Kyle Tucker, duh. Kyle Tucker's had a great year as well, but Pete Crow Armstrong's been a catalyst for their team. Kyle Schwarber's been that guy for the Phillies. Bryce Harper's been really, really good since he's come back from the injured list. But the inconsistencies within the Phillies offense. Trey Turner had a really good first half, has slowed down a little bit in the second half. Platoon at second base. Bryson Stott's been underwhelming. Sosa's been good against lefties, but I think we've talked about it before, is a super utility guy with some upside. They've got inconsistencies from the left field position, inconsistencies from the center field position. Nick Castellanos had a really good start to the year. His chase rates have gone in the wrong direction. His whiff rates have gone in the wrong direction. And his numbers, for the most part, have kind of gone in a bad spot. The most consistent hitter on this team, the most consistent player on this team outside of the pitching staff has been Kyle Schwarber. I think there's no question about it. Kyle Schwarber is the reason for a large portion of the season that the Phillies offense has had life at all. And we've talked about it before. The Phillies won another game yesterday where they scored 3 or less runs. Or 2 or less runs, excuse me. What was the number we gave on the trade deadline show? 31 games in which they scored 2 or less runs. They have 6 wins this year scoring 2 runs. Just 2 runs, excuse me. They've had 14 games this year where they've scored 2 runs exactly. They're 6-8. Most teams don't survive scoring 2 runs and winning those type of games. They're 6-8. They're almost 500 in games where they've scored 2 runs. That's a testament to their pitching staff, and it's a testament to the timely hitting of Kyle Schwarber. I think the guy should be in the MVP conversation this season. And Andrew, if you can flash that graphic again with all of his numbers, I'm a sucker for the Baseball Savant page. There's a lot of red, right? I get it. He swings and misses a lot. His strikeout rates are high. That's Kyle Schwarber. But comparably to years past, his strikeout rates have been a little bit better. But you look at all of the numbers. I mean, like, the chase rates is still good. It's why he walks so much. The barrel rates are through the roof. Hard hit rates through the roof. Average exit velocity. I always make fun of people, like grown adults who bring their glove to the ballpark. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to go bare hand Kyle Schwarber line drive. I mean, what's his average exit velocity there? Does that say 94.9? That's his average
94.9,
exit velocity.
Yep.
Now think about that. That's average. 50% of the balls he hits are harder than that. I don't want to get in the way of 110. The ball that he
would kill you.
The ball that he hit yesterday was 115.
He would kill you.
Like when the ball leaves his bat, it explodes off of his. You remember the home run he hit it to the chop house in April?
Yes.
In Atlanta, like what was it, May-ish?
Yeah.
If you would have told me that ball went 500 feet, I'd have believed you.
Oh, yeah.
Obliterated. He hit one in Colorado, same thing. I mean, the one that I always go back to, the furthest ball I've ever seen that man hit was the home run in the NLCS against the Padres.
The Harper face?
Yeah.
When he looks at it, like,
where he
blown
hit it
away?
to like the third deck. There are only a handful of players that I watch hit balls that go that far. Kyle Schwarber's one of them. Ryan Howard used to do it. Do you remember like watching Prince Fielder in his Milwaukee days just like deposit moonshots?
Yes.
Like you got to have that type of strength. Aaron Judge does it. But like the thing with Aaron Judge, a lot of his home runs are like screaming line drives. Like they're scary how hard he hits the ball, right? But like the trajectory at which Schwarber and think about Ryan Howard and Prince Fielder used to hit those type of home runs, those moonshot home runs. Kyle Schwarber's in that conversation, man. And I think his ability this year and last year too, but like this year, his numbers against lefties, like you can't bring a lefty. Whoops, sorry, hit the bell here. Hit that bell notification. That was awful. There you go. Hit that bell notification. So
it's a sign, Tyler.
There you go.
The bell.
His numbers against lefties are elite. His numbers with 2 strikes are really good. His numbers with runners in scoring position have continued to be good this year. I have to assume that he's going to get MVP votes. I don't think he's going to get a lot of first place votes. I think Ohtani is going to get most of them. But he's going to get second and third place votes this season.
As he should. I mean, he's deserving of it.
Does he hit 50?
He's on the path to do it.
He needs 12 more home runs in the last 50 games.
Oh, yeah.
He has 38 through the first 100.
It feels like every other day he's hitting a home run.
I think he's going to get to 50. Does he get to 55?
Could.
The Phillies' single season record is 58. Ryan Howard set that number.
That's a tough one.
I don't think he's going to hit another 20, but I do think there's a pathway for him to hit another
Get 60?
15?
I think he could definitely
does he
do
get
15.
to 53-ish?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now the question is, this is why we do the big deal segment. Talk about the deal. He's an impending free agent.
He shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be. I think listen, John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski have to be coming up with a number. They have to be ready and prepared to open up the checkbook.
I think they are.
But again, we have this conversation like seemingly every other week. What's that number?
I'm not sure. I don't know how.
I mean, it's going to start with a lot.
I don't know how you pay him. I also don't know how you pay anybody right now with the impending stuff that can be happening in 2027 and with all that going on, the salary cap. So I don't know, but you throw that man a giant bag of money.
So here's the other question that we haven't gotten into about a potential salary cap. Are players who are already under contract grandfathered in?
I would assume.
That's got to be part of the conversation.
There's no way you can restructure every contract.
Yeah, you can't reset an entire payroll overnight.
There's no way.
Because the other thing that's going to end up happening is you're going to see what the NHL has done over the last couple of years, which is salary dump for nothing.
Which brings up a conversation, and we don't have to talk about it today, but if that is the case where people get grandfathered in, so they say somebody like a Bryce Harper, for example, who may want to get an extension on his contract.
Yeah.
Do they make that before they rule any type of salary cap so he can make more money?
Movement if that's the case.
So there's going to be a lot of players who are going to say, hey, if it's grandfathered in, let's get deals done now before that happens so they know they have that money.
And hey, listen, man, maybe we can't offer you 30, but we'll give you the 25 per year for 8 years and I'm not saying Schwarber specifically, but just hypothetically, we'll give you 25 per year for 8 years. And because otherwise, if you wait next year, we're only going to be able to give you 20 because of the cap structure.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fascinating
It's
conversation.
going to be a weird next year or two.
I think the salary cap, salary floor, like structure thing is just the tip of the iceberg of this much larger CBA conversation.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. That's our big deal segment brought to you by our friends over at Cherry Hill Jeep. Head on over to cherryhilljeep.com to check out all of the latest offers that they have for you today. And of course, you can check them out 24/7, cherryhilljeep.com, or across really any of the bridges right into Cherry Hill. One more break here before we wrap up today's show. I want to talk about two Cy Young candidates in specific, and we'll do that in our overtime portion. But first, let's pause for just a moment right here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. All right, if you're looking to get flooring done, don't go anywhere else except for Empire and Empire Today. They have dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to the big box stores. You think about you're wandering the aisles aimlessly, right? You have to somehow lug all that equipment home yourself. You don't get the help that you deserve, and then suddenly you have to get all the installation and contractors and everything set up. Don't make that mistake. Head on over to Empire Today, and they'll work with you from every step of the process, from the initial consultation to getting precise measurements taken in done at your home, to bringing the showroom to your home to see exactly what your new floors are going to look like in your space with your furniture. They're going to give you incredible, crystal clear answers, so you're not going to have to worry about follow-ups or am I getting the right information? Do I have all the information? And they're going to offer you upfront and honest pricing so you can get in on that installation as soon as the next day. So schedule an in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home, and PHLY listeners can get a $350 discount by using the promo code PHLY. Restrictions do apply. Once again, use the promo code PHLY at the bottom of your screen for $350 discount. Visit Empire Today/PHLY for full details. All right, let me tell you about my hometown casino. Of course, that is Bet Parks. And one thing I love about Bet Parks is the Excite Center at Bet Parks. I go there for shows. You can go there for comedy, for theater, for whatever it might be. You get in with some of the great acts at the Excite Center. It is Pennsylvania's #1 casino, right off of the Street Road exit of both 95 and the Turnpike. And the Excite Center is the state-of-the-art entertainment venue that's located right inside of the casino. You can visit parkcasino.com for all of your ticketing inquiries. And of course, don't go just for the show. Make it a night. If you're going to head out, whether you're going out with your friends, your loved one, you're going out with coworkers, make it a night that you're not going to forget. That you're not going to forget. You can pregame at any one of the incredible dining places that Parks has to offer, including one of my favorite places to be. If you're looking for food, head on over to the Bamboo Noodle House. If you're looking for drinks, the Beer Garden is an awesome spot to grab a couple drinks, relax, hang out with your friends. Sometimes if it's nice out, they got the garage door styles open. It's just open air. It's really an awesome place to be. And then, of course, you can get in on all of the shows at the Excite Center. Head on over to parkscasino.com for more information. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Must be 21 and over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, welcome back to the PHLY Phillies podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And before we get into our final piece of conversation, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who is watching on our streaming platforms, our Roku, our Samsung channels. Head on over to allphly.com to watch the rest of the show, because it is officially time for overtime. All right, welcome into Overtime Extra Innings here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. One final topic of conversation that I wanted to get into today, and it revolves around the Cy Young, and we're kind of going to go full circle, getting us back to the Cristopher Sanchez conversation. Now, I've said this for a while. I think that Paul Skeens is going to win the National League Cy Young Award, and I think that Tarik Skubal is going to win the American League Cy Young Award. I want to ask a couple of questions to you, Andrew, and to everybody in the chat. If I had to, if you had to give me an answer to this question, which pitcher do you think is more of a consensus to win their respected league Cy Youngs right now on August 4th? Would you take Skubal or would you take Skeens?
Skubal.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I think Skubal is... Garrett Crochet's having a heck of a season. I think Skubal's on another planet right now when it comes to the American League. I tend to agree. I think Skubal is going to win the American League Cy Young, and I think he might almost run away with it.
Yeah.
So the next question then, is Skeens a lock to win the National League Cy Young?
I don't think so.
Is it more
Not
because
yet.
of Wheeler?
Not yet.
Is it more because of Wheeler, or is it more because of it feels more open with guys like a Cristopher Sanchez, for example?
I think it's a combo between Wheeler and Sanchez biting at his heels.
Okay. Then the next question that I have for you is Tarek Skubal's 28. Paul Skeens is 23.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to ask you for the next 5 years, there's no wrong answer. Both these guys are elite. Who would you rather have, Paul Skeens or Tarek Skubal?
I would say Paul Skeens.
I think it's a fair answer. Younger.
Of course.
I mean, both. We talked about the 5-6 pitch mix that he offers. Skeens has a 2.04 ERA this season. Over the course of his career, through the first year and a half, he's not that much higher. He's at 2.2, I think. Skubal's last 2 years have been as dominant as I've seen in a really, really long time. There's no wrong answer. I think the relative age of Skeens probably gives me a little bit more reason to choose him.
Yeah, that's.
But if I'm getting Skubal at 28 through 33, it's not a bad option.
No, it's not. You're just going to get longevity out of Skeens than you would.
Right. You're
Skubal.
getting 23 through 28.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Is it crazy to say that Skeens could have a 15-year career?
Yeah.
Because I think
definitely
that
reasonable.
Skeens is the type of guy, he's cerebral, he understands the game, he knows his stuff is legit, but I think Skeens is the type of guy that almost might have 2 careers. Skeens is going to have power pitcher Paul Skeens' career, and then he's going to have, I don't want to say crafty, because I think crafty, you hear crafty, you think about guys that throw 90.
Mm-hmm.
He's still going to throw 94,
He'll
95.
Heat, yeah.
But when he starts to throw 94, 95, that's when he's going to settle in as pitcher Paul Skeens.
His version of crafty.
Right. And so when he throws 5 or 6 different pitches and he's still throwing 94, 95, got good movement, good breaking balls, you might see let's say a 6 or 7 year career of Paul Skeens as we know him now. And then maybe an 8 or 9 year career of Paul Skeens 2.0.
Yeah.
So he might throw 15 years.
Yeah.
And he'll only be 38 after that.
And the thing he'll benefit from, is that he has such a large tool belt.
Yep.
That he throws 8 or 9 different pitches?
Yeah, I think
something like that.
Baseball Savant tracks him at 7. But 7? If you said, well, he throws a 2-seam and a sinker, or he has the splinker and then he throws a traditional splitter, I wouldn't argue you. Because his repertoire seems limitless.
Yeah, and I think that will contribute to his second career in the MLB.
Right.
Is being able to have so many different options to go to that it's just going to make him so hard to hit.
So Skubal feels like he's probably a lock for the Cy Young if he keeps pitching. That'll give him 2.
Yeah, back to back.
If he wins, he'll have 1. If I asked you how many career Cy Youngs Tarek Skubal finishes with, assuming he wins the Cy Young this year, how many would you say?
4.
All right, so you're giving him another 2 after this season.
I think he...
Because I was going to say 3.
I think he will, yeah.
Okay. Now, if I said to you, Paul Skeens wins 4 Cy Youngs in his career.
I think that's base floor.
Is that a reasonable ask?
Definitely. I think that's his floor.
That's crazy. That's crazy talking about a 23-year-old who's just kind of scratching the surface of his abilities, potentially being in conversations of Steve Carlton, more Cy Youngs than Sandy Koufax. So Roger Clemens has 7. That's the most of all time. The next, I believe, is Randy Johnson at 5. And then everybody else has 4 or less.
Yeah.
You're talking about being tied for 3rd all time when his career would be over.
Yeah.
It's a lot of projection, obviously.
Yeah, we don't obviously know. Anything could happen.
He could win one this year and next year and the following year and basically could be in the running, assuming health, right? We have to quantify
of course,
health, right?
Yeah,
Which
there's
is
always
hard
that
to
variable.
Do.
Yeah.
But assuming health, he could be in the running for the next decade.
Oh, him being in the running, I think he's going to be in the running for a vast majority of his career.
You might see Skeens win this year, finish third next year, win the following year, finish second the year after that.
100%.
Like, the options are limitless for this kid.
Yeah.
He's insanely good. Like, I said we're looking, I once said we're looking at the end of an era. And the end of the era was Kershaw, Scherzer, Verlander, DeGrom.
What an era.
Like, that was our childhood into our young adult life, right?
Yeah.
Like, those guys were early 2000s into, like, I mean, as recent as, like, I mean, DeGrom's still doing it, but, like, even for Verlander, he won one at, 39?
Yeah.
With Houston. Like,
Ugh.
I don't know if I'll ever get to see those type of guys again, because, like, Scherzer had bleep you mentality on the mound. Like, Scherzer had Bob Gibson, like, give me the bleeping ball and don't touch my mound type of stuff.
Yep.
Verlander had just, like, elite consistency. Kershaw, I think Kershaw, because of the last 2 years, I think there's a portion of a younger generation of the fan base that forgets how freaking good Clayton Kershaw was at his elite.
He was insane.
And, like, I think the next group is Skubal, is Skeens. Like, there's no drop-off. These guys are going to be just as good.
Yeah.
Now, they may not win as many games because wins have become kind of arbitrary and, like, you know, I don't think we'll ever see a 300-game winner again. Gosh, we may never see another 200-game winner again.
No.
But, like, when you talk about the stuff and the ability, the drop-off between that group and this next group, like, of Skubal, Skeens, Crochet, the drop-off's not that far.
No.
If it exists at all. This next group is legit.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you could start to convince me that, like, if you get a year and a half's worth of guys like Mizorowski and Burns, and, like, this next group's going to be just as good as long as they stay healthy, of course.
It's exciting.
That's the one thing that guys like Kershaw and Scherzer and all those guys had for a long time. Their longevity was crazy.
Chat's bringing up some good names. Peelan said CC Sabathia.
Sabathia's a Hall of Famer.
I always remember him.
Legit.
Yeah.
Like, Ray brings up a guy that I always think about. The pinnacle of Tim Lincecum,
dude, was insane.
Was nasty. The one guy I always think about had one of the most underappreciated careers, 2-time Cy Young winner. At his peak, Jhoan Santana was filthy.
Oh, yeah.
Injuries kind of derailed his career a little bit, but wins the Cy Young with the Twins, goes to New York, was just as good, throws the first no-hitter in Mets history. Like, Jhoan Santana was nasty, man. So it really comes down to longevity, right? And you know, I think about, like, the difference between the Lincecums and the Santanas of the world versus the Doc Halladays, the Kershaws, the Verlanders. Health. It's really all it comes down to. They were all up amongst elite conversation. Just those guys had a little bit more health than Lincecum and Santana types did.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to end today's show. Big thank you to everybody who was a part of today's show. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being a part of it. If you wouldn't mind, before you get out of here, drop a like. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscription button. We are closing in on 47,000 subscribers. Our goal very quickly is to get to 50,000. And, of course, a big thank you to Andrew Frazier for producing and co-hosting today's show. We'll be back on Wednesday afternoon, same time, 1 o'clock, as we get you closer and closer to the end of the Baltimore Orioles series tonight. Series begins against the Orioles, 3-game set. And then, of course, day off on Thursday, as the weekend will bring you the Texas Rangers for 3. So we'll talk to you on Wednesday at 1 o'clock right here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Until that time, switch on over to the Eagles at 2 and, of course, the Sixers at 3. And we'll see you at 1 right here on the Phillies podcast. Talk to you then. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.